So you've heard a little bit about mobile and digital this morning, in addition to how social is complemented for today's connected customer. I've asked this next company to represent sort of what that interactive mood looks like, how bringing experiences together looks like, and how creating an overall digital and real-world experience is actually the future of marketing. So please put your hands together and help me welcome to the stage Bridget Dolan, VP of Interactive at Sephora.
Hi, Brian.
Hello, have a seat. Be careful, I hear it rocks. Literally. All right. Well, thanks so much for being here. I was actually just at Sephora the other day, so one of the things that I noticed upon walking in, my first time in a while, was the fact that not only were clerks sort of mobile and ready to help, which they always have been, they were also my new cash register. So I could pay sort of like in the Apple stores anywhere I was. And one of the things that then reminded me of was this conversation that I had with the company last year, or earlier in the year, around sort of how you saw the future of customer engagement. And I think you were at that moment in the throes of going through a complete makeover, literally digital and in-store makeover. I want to hear from you sort of, what was the inspiration behind such a dramatic change? And how did you sell that into the organization, or did you have to sell it into the organization?
We did have to sell it into the organization a little bit, but we've been digital since the beginning. We've been really focused on the intersection of how digital actually crosses into the store experience. And we have had a great e-commerce business for many, many years, but really how it also enhances the store experience. And our investment in digital has been to rebuild our entire website from the platform up, and really think about how customers are shopping today and how it's so multifaceted in a way that it's never been before. And in order to do that and really move with the future, you need to invest and build that infrastructure. And as we headed into our store experience, really thinking about how clients are using the website before they shop, after they shop, and even on a mobile device while they're shopping, right. And keeping all of those touch points in play.
You know, that's a really good point that I just want to zone in on just for as a tangent here, is that the customer, whether it's B2C, by the way, or B2B, doesn't matter. The customer is always in that moment on the screen, whatever it is that they're doing, along the decision-making cycle. And in the store, it's very interesting because they're using it sort of as research. They're looking for experiences of what others have had with those products. They're having conversations about those products, taking a picture of it. What do you think? Is this more me? Is this one more me? And some businesses say that, you know, we should shut off all cell and internet access in our store because that moment is where they can walk out of the store. We need to hold them captive. And you have other store policies where people will go to the service desk and say, you know, I found it less over here. I was wondering if you could match the price. No, we can't match the price because we only match printed advertisements. You know, they don't even recognize the screen, you know, as being a legitimate medium. But instead, you are going all out, letting people have all the access they want. You have in-store kiosks. The people in the stores are wonderfully helpful. But you're almost taking the opposite approach. You're saying, have at it. And not only that, we're going to help you. Here's an app. Here's this. Here's that. So why the reverse approach?
Well, we believe that you know, people have different ways that they get their information about what would help them shop. Right. And so some of our customers walk in, they really want the person that works in the store, their point of view, expert advice, but they also want to know what other people think. And I think it's a 1-2 punch. I really think that, you know, you get the expert opinions, you want to double check it. And so you go on use our app and you can scan any product in our store and get ratings and reviews on that product and hear what your peers have to say. Is this really a useful product? Is this really good? And so I think that's the 1-2 punch, is really getting that expert advice and plus getting the peer opinion. And we found that to be really, really powerful. And I think the consumers today, they have their phone in their hand all the time. And so we want to leverage that. I think also where social comes into play is in our stores, you're trying makeup on. You want to play and have fun and be with your friends, whether they're physically with you or not. And so you may try on a lipstick take a picture and text it to a friend or put it up on Facebook and kind of say, hey guys, what do you think? Is this a good color on me? Or you actually, at one of our beauty studios, will get your makeup done and take your picture and put it up on Facebook. That's your new profile picture right there.
Yeah,
you're looking good. So we do see the intersection of mobile and social in our stores.
Sounds like I need to stop by. I could use a new profile. We talked a lot about social here at the conference. And one of the points I really want to get people thinking about leaving Pivot and thinking about their 2013 planning. Sephora's not only doubled down, I don't even know to what percentage you've bet on mobile. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on the inspiration behind mobile and where you see it going, and then please tie it into me around the idea of sort of this integrated experience for your customer.
Great. So we have a loyalty program called Beauty Insider, and most of the transactions that happen in our store are clients who are beauty insiders. So it's a beneficial program. And what we found was when our clients come in our stores, sometimes they have their card with them, but sometimes they don't. We have to look them up. It's a little bit painful. So one of the things that we did was we actually integrated with Passbook. We were one of the first 7 companies when Apple announced the iPhone 5 and the iOS 6 to be part of Passbook's integration. And we were the first loyalty program to be in it. And the idea that you could just be near a Sephora store and suddenly your phone on your lock screen pops up that how many points you have and that there's a Sephora nearby and there's an opportunity for you to pop on in. So this idea that we're really looking at the holistic experience of what makes it easier for her as she comes into our stores. So she comes in and she has her loyalty card pops up and she sees how many points she has, and now she kind of sees that she's close to a 500-point reward, and if I spend just $20 today, I'll get that, and I can see what it is. And so it's this idea that I'm already got the wheels turning as I'm walking through the store, and again, scanning products to see the ratings and reviews, finding out more information. Then she goes to check out and she scans her Passbook, and there, the store has all that information about her. So I think it's this idea that we are trying to really think about utility and not just mobile or digital for digital's sake, but really how does the customer shop and what things would make her life easier when she's in our stores.
I love that you refer to her, and not just as so many businesses I work with talk about users and customers or consumers, but you really add a sort of a personal touch to this. But in that scenario that you just painted, I think the thing that I want everybody to learn from, including myself, is the idea that you just talked about a series of moments, right? And that moment happens before they even leave the house, after they're a customer and they made a purchase, those moments are cyclical. They're always there. And because you have such a strong loyalty program, somebody's got to think about those new touch points and designing around those moments. Everything that you just talked about, somebody in your organization has designed intentionally around that. So, I mean, you're already proactively thinking about the experience you want them to have and how you're going to help them in those moments. I have to first ask, how did you even get there? Because that's a very different way of approaching things. Marketing is often campaign-driven or reactive, but here you're being very prescriptive.
Well, I think yesterday we heard a lot of the different speakers talking about user experience, and I think that is really the new starting point. Instead of campaigns or instead of just thinking about what do we want a customer to see, it's really what do we want them to experience, and how do we want them to experience all that we have to offer. But it really comes back to what are they organically trying to do. So as a customer shopping for beauty, it can be a tad overwhelming. We have 200 brands in our stores and a lot of different options. And so we really put ourselves in her shoes and say, what would help us? Or, and how do we shop? And we're all shopping beauty at Sephora, which is one of the fun perks. But we really put ourselves in her shoes and say, what would make our lives easier? And so we listen to our clients quite a bit, and social is a great way to do that. We ask our clients questions every single day on Facebook and in our Beauty Talk community, which is built into our website. And we actually get feedback and constantly about what would make the experience better. And we listen to that, we respond to that, but we really use and infuse that into the user experience scenarios.
So you're not just listening, you're looking for insights and feedback. So how much of that feedback loop is part of just say the everyday design process? So is UX a day-to-day thing? Is it a quarterly thing?
It is a day-to-day thing in certain aspects of planning and building, and we launch every 6 weeks. So we have a pretty quick cycle of figuring out what the user experience tweaks are that will make it better. And so some of our launches have very big new functionality and features, but a lot of them are really about listening to our customers and hearing their little suggestions and little complaints, and we think, how can we make that better and better? And it's tweaking this user experience to make an overall better experience in the end.
I'm going to ask you a question about inside Sephora now, because what we've talked about in terms of experience, we've talked about interactive, we've talked about integrated experiences along the lines of, I'll just be real simple, web, mobile, social, in-store. Typically, businesses that have that many different channels also have that many silos. And none of those groups ever really talk to each other. And so I'll work with teams that say, well, we really need to get this done, but the web team is backed up on all kinds of updates for a year, so we're just going to create a launch page, and then that launch page isn't going to be brand-centric at all. It's going to be totally off the style guide just because they had to get it done. But in that scenario, especially if you're in 6-week cycles, that means people are talking inside and people are working together. How did you even get there?
Well, silo sounds kind of good because all those things fall under me. so that helps. But I do think that it really does come down to the passion of the team. And those are all fun areas. I think web and what we can learn from the web and how we then translate that into the mobile experience and how they interrelate. And similarly with social and similarly with in-store digital, we're really leveraging the expertise of the entire team, and all of those are fun touch points. Everybody wants to be make sure that we're crossing over all of them. So it hasn't been a territorial battle at all. It's actually been a really exciting time to be a team and come together and really think about her crossover experiences and where else would she go next.
So those crossover experiences, I think, are what the future of marketing, the future of commerce, future of business is all about. A lot of, unfortunately, companies don't have that, have you mastering sort of all of these different channels. But one of the things that I am going to see, and I am already seeing in the future, is this idea of, this is just somebody's title, but I don't know if this is going to be everybody's title. This idea of sort of a chief experience officer, somebody who's now sort of you within these organizations, responsible for defining those moments and then bringing all of the crossover departments together, crossover channels together to sort of deliver that experience. And one of the first people that I saw assigned with a role like that was officially Starbucks.
I was going to say Starbucks.
Yeah, where they appointed an experience officer, and I thought that was a fascinating move. So you're often cited as a success story of what an integrated experience looks like, and now Starbucks has appointed somebody in this role. I mean, what do you think that we should take away from this as they go back and fight with their silos or look at how they could bring the right departments together? What advice do you have for everybody?
I mean, I think it's one of those things where, there's somebody who, I think a lot of it was talked about yesterday, there's somebody who's in charge of social, but then suddenly it starts to be infused in everyone's job, right? A little bit. And so I think there's this idea of one person or one team might be making sure that they're the air traffic control and kind of knowing everything going on, but it really is a top-down infusion of, are we going to be a digital entity, and are we really going to think about how our experiences connect? And I think that is, it's starting with somebody who's kind of got the vision, but it's really infusing it throughout the organization. That's where the real success is going to come in.
Well, I hear your architecture with the last 30 seconds we have here. You've heard yesterday the term hub and spoke, and often social leads to conversations inside the organization where you start to centralize this so that it can permeate the organization. But I wonder, hearing your story, looking at what Starbucks is doing, social might be one of the drivers, but then so is mobile. And
right.
I wonder then, do you see that instead of a social move towards a hub and spoke, that we're actually just going to move right to a digital hub and spoke model where we start thinking about digital experiences?
I think so. I think that mobile is bringing this entire experience everywhere you go, and so it really is around all the digital touch points, whether they be in store, on the go, at home, on the website, and holistically thinking about those experiences is, I think, going to be infused in the entire organization.
Well, Bridget, thank you so much. I really love your story. Thanks for joining us here.